Wild Heart's new gameplay debuts today, and I'm going to give you everything we know so far about the new Monster Hunter style game coming from Omega Force and Koei Tecmo. This game looking absolutely very promising for people who love to hunt mons. If you didn't see my previous breakdown video, it's on this channel. These are also live streams, so they're a little long. I'm going to give you all the good info right here at the beginning, and the gameplay, the new gameplay, will be about 30 minutes into the broadcast. We are waiting for that video to go live, and while we wait, I'm going to give people sort of a, hey, this is everything we know about the game in a very, very quick breakdown update. This is a Reforge update. Wild Heart's gameplay continues to trickle out from the developer, and everything we know so far is looking very promising. I'm going to give you everything we know so far. Games Radar had a great breakdown we'll be using, and we will also be breaking down the brand new gameplay on my live streaming channel. So be sure to check out Reforge Gaming. That is where I stream live. Here on Reforge Updates, we do very quick uploads, and I actually record those while I'm streaming. So let's break down everything we know so far about Wild Hearts. So again, according to GamesRadar.com, Wild Hearts was revealed on September the 28th. This is a new Monster Hunter game from EA and Koei Tecmo. To be more specific, it's coming from Omega Force, the studio behind the iconic hunting series Tukiden. And they are saying this is a AAA game. Stuart Lang, the VP and global brand at EA, has said that Wild Heart should be considered, quote, the first AAA hunting experience for a new generation, and that we should expect ingenious mechanics, giant nature-infused beasts, and epic battles. Now, not only have they debuted new gameplay, they're also having a very quick release date from the time of actually announcing it. EA has set the Wild Hearts release date for February 17th, 2023. That's a very short window since they just showed it off on September the 28th. So February 17th is like right around the corner. Many people curious what platforms you'll be able to play this on. The Wild Hearts platforms have been confirmed as PC, PS5, and Xbox Series X. That makes Wild Hearts one of EA's first new-gen exclusive games. And the first trailer, which you can sort of see over here in the corner, there's giant nature-infused beasts called Kemono, and they take these ancient traps that they build to fight against them called Katakuri, and a brief glimpse that we can see is that they are in feudal Japan, a place called Azuma. They did want to make this game stand apart and not just be sort of a Monster Hunter clone or something that would be accused of just being sort of a cheap knockoff of Monhun, and crafting will really make the game stand apart. In Wild Hearts, according to Games Radar, you'll be able to craft Katakuri, which are said to be, quote, sophisticated mechanisms crafted from a lost ancient technology. Yosuke Hayashi, the executive vice president of Koei Tecmo, says that the team at Omega Force wants to, quote, create a game where crafting was at the core of the experience, redefining what could be possible in a beast hunting game. Not only did they confirm quite a bit of crafting, mechanics, and different weapons in the trailer, they also confirmed co-op. There will be co-op support at launch. You can choose to play Wild Hearts in single player, or you can play with up to 3 players in co-op. The setting of the game has been confirmed as a fantasy landscape inspired by feudal Japan. The world is called Azuma, and it looks absolutely stunning in everything we've seen so far. I actually agree with Games Radar. I think the world looks very good. Now, it's not just about killing animals. This isn't sort of like, hey, let's go do big game hunting in this fantasy land in feudal Japan. The Wild Hearts story, you're actually exploring Azuma as a lone wolf or in a pack of 3, and you're working to clear the land of nature-infused beasts who are altering the environments beyond recognition. So you're doing something that's supposed to be good for nature. You're not just destroying nature for the sake of it. Some people find the, games where that's the whole goal of the game is to go out and kill these big monsters. They might feel like, hey, wait a minute, shouldn't there be sort of a good reason for this instead of like, oh, we just want to go kill stuff. So there is an actual story element to this that you're trying to protect and restore elements of the environment, not just destroy it. There is more gameplay on the way. That gameplay breakdown will be on Reforge Gaming, my live streaming channel. If you're watching this on the updates channel, hit subscribe and the bell button, and I'll see you in the next video. And I'll see the rest of you right now. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I know we always say we're trying to start better on time. The gameplay debuts at 10, and I didn't want to go live too early before that in anticipation of that video premiering, and I thought I set this for 9:30, and then I saw it was at 9 o'clock, and I was like, oh, I'll set it for 9:15, and I was not even remotely close to getting live at 9:15. We have kids in our house. They're adorable and they're real sweet, and we've been helping their fam out. And there were some kids in the house, so I made sure to go up and say hi, because if not, I wouldn't have gotten to see them. So I am sorry about that. Good morning, feed. Good to see you in the chat. Guys, thank you for already 100 likes on the broadcast. What is the scene that I'm looking for? There's a scene. It's probably... what's the scene? Oh, scene 5. Okay, I'm just going to do a little adjustment here so that I can go like this. There we go. This is what we are waiting on 18 minutes from now. Very excited to have more gameplay to watch with you guys and to enjoy. And let me just get this a little bit better on the crop. There we go. There we go. Wild Hearts gameplay trailers debuting in 18 minutes. According to the description, it's going to be 7 minutes of extended gameplay in Azuma, and I'm pretty sure we're going to be fighting that guy there. What do they call him? Hang on. I got to scroll down. Hang on. Follow us on. No. I think they call him a Wild Tusk, I think. So they don't have that in the description. I thought it was in the description. It's not. I'm excited to see gameplay. This game has me very interested. Weezy says, I'm excited for this game as a huge Monster Hunter fan. Tukiden, the other series from Koei Tecmo, is a good alternative to Monster Hunter, but doesn't have the same quality and recognition. I hope Wild Hearts can at least compete with Monster Hunter. Weezy, what was funny to me, I guess funny is not the right word. What got me interested was that Tukiden didn't get the greatest reviews, but then Tukiden 2 was praised as an improvement. So they have both, like... They actually have, they have experience in making a Monster Hunter game, but not just making a Monster Hunter style game, but improving upon the formula. And then when you look at this one, it's like, oh, okay, well, there's building, there's these towers you can build, you know, you can have these different, like harpoon gun things, there's traps, there's all these different things. So I love the fact that you cover every game now. We have been pretty much all over the place as of late, covering everything from Modern Warfare 2 to Wild Hearts gameplay, and this afternoon, actually when we're done with this episode, that Cyberpunk sequel, I want to know what you guys think about that, so make sure you stick with me for the entirety of the day. If you're here right now and you've never been here before, this is a Safe for Work broadcast, and we actually consistently put on multiple shows a day talking about variety gaming news, and there is so much news now that we're having to kick certain subjects to the next day. I know some people want me to talk about certain things. Believe me, I'll get there. There are some things happening that we want to make sure and cover. Yesterday, we reacted to the Dead Space gameplay. I pushed out a short this morning. And essentially saying that I think the Dead Space remake looks bad. That might end up being another stream where we argue about that and remakes and, you know, all of the dialogue surrounding The Last of Us. So we cover a very wide gamut of content. This morning, I'm curious where you guys sit on Wild Hearts. Like, for me, I am not a fan of Mon-Hun games, okay? I've tried Monster Hunter before. They don't typically hook me. I tried Dauntless as well. I've been told there's a Monster Hunter out right now that is a little bit more accessible, and, you know, that I might enjoy it or whatever. I just don't know if even this game will convince me to put a lot of time in. Digga says, can I get some likes? Yeah, let's get some likes. Let's get our first new member of the day, our first super chat, our first coffee order. Let's shake off the dust. It's a brand new day. Plastic Zombies, LOL. Look generic AF. We actually did a freeze frame on Callisto, and the difference in quality is obvious. Like, somebody's actually trying to tell me that the Callisto Protocol guys don't look very good, We did a freeze frame of Callisto. They look great. I don't know what this guy's talking about. We literally went and watched the Callisto Protocol gameplay and freeze framed on one of the monsters, and it looked phenomenal. It was like you could see his veins under his skin. I'm interested, says Rogue Necro, but I will wait to see more before I decide. We'll probably wait until it comes out and watch a few content creators play it. That certainly is a viable strategy that a lot of people are starting to use these days. They say, listen, I'm not even going to touch the thing until I see other people touch it. Wheezy says, I hope this is good because I'll probably pick it up while waiting for Monster Hunter 6, which should be like 2024, and it's going to be huge. So hopefully Wild Hearts can at least get some fans before Monster Hunter 6 comes out and slaps everyone silly. Well, the good thing about Wild Hearts, the Wild Hearts release date is literally right around the corner, February of next year. So they have all of 2023 to crank out their own content, to crank out, to crank out the DLC if they have any, if they want to do like season pass structure. There's a lot of things they'll be able to do in the meantime. I have no hope for EA, but I have hope for EA Originals. It Takes Two changed my mindset. That is something people need to understand. This is an EA Original, and EA Originals actually have been pretty impressive. They've been of a different quality and a different caliber if you look at all the games sort of in that lineup. So, I mean, It Takes Two won Game of the Year. I wait for the standout feature of the game. So far, I haven't seen anything that makes it that different. I think the mechanisms that you build in the Wild Hearts gameplay, I think that, to me, is good enough to make me want to consider it. Will there be health bars? That's always the question, isn't it? That's literally one of my discussion questions. One of my discussion questions is literally, what about the health bars? Like, am I a weirdo for wanting the health bars? Like, am I some kind of a weirdo for feeling like that is a significantly needed thing as opposed to, just sort of waiting for them to die? Now, many of the Monster Hunter fans are going to tell you that there's plenty of visual cues, there's auditory cues, there's behavior from the monster that changes. That's how you know that you're doing a good job, or that's how you know that your video, I'm sorry, not your video, that's how you know that your attacks are working. I get that. I'm not going to dispute that. That might be more immersive. That might make it feel more organic and emergent. Like you just, you have to kind of find your own way, right? I don't have an issue with that. I don't like it. I just don't enjoy it. This game will 100% be grindy, says Wheezy. If it isn't grindy, you can't get the Monhunt audience with what they want. I'm glad Monhunt doesn't have health bars. I'd hate it if it did. Right, and I wonder, Wheezy, I wonder if, yes, you're a weirdo for wanting that stuff. Okay, well, thank you. I'm a weirdo. Here's the thing. I wonder if they have to leave it off because the Monster Hunter fans would come in and immediately be like, why the frick is there a health bar, right? They'd be like, why'd you put a health bar on this? They would be, angry, irritated, whatever words you want to assign to it. I do think that would be a huge turnoff. Now, if you let me turn them on, maybe that would be a better, oh my goodness, what did I just stumble across? Why aren't you guys should be getting notifications for the members only stuff. Somebody just left, TJ Ray just left a comment on a members only stream, and he was like, what did I just stumble across? Man, we hit like every alert we could that day. We did. We hit like every alert to try to let people know about the Just Dance stream. If you guys are not a member here, you should consider becoming a member. It's $5 a month, and you get into all of the members-only live streams and talk shows. They should have just had the bosses turn more and more orange, like in Ninja Turtles, and then die. Like it flashes red at the very end. Did you feel the same with Spider-Man PS4 with no health bars? No, and I'll tell you why, Wheezy. I think that's a fair question. I think because the fights are shorter, it doesn't matter as much, right? Like, that's not a defining attribute of Spider-Man, like super long, lengthy fights. You know you gotta beat the guy senseless until eventually that little combo meter pops up above his head, like the button, the button press of like you press 2 buttons and then you slam him into the ground. I've played other games like that, so there's an established reality, maybe not reality, there's like an established expectation there of when you play a game like this, you just fight everybody until they're all dead and on the ground. The problem with Monster Hunter or with Wild Hearts when there is no health bar is it's like one fight. So it's just this super long slog and you're like, maybe he's weak, maybe he's half health, I don't know. So I understand that might on the surface seem inconsistent. It might seem inconsistent, but you had to look for me in search. You didn't get a notification for this stream. I mean, I got my email, and it seemed like the turnout was our normal turnout, Corey. So maybe just toggle bell off and back on again or something. Do a poll for health bars. At least I don't want it in Monster Hunter, says AFK Core. They already changed a lot and made the new games casual AF. You're a hunter. It means you can read cues of your prey like a hunter. And I totally respect that outlook, AFK. I totally respect it. The idea that they want it to feel like this immersive, emergent, it feels genuine, like you're an actual hunter and you've got to track and set traps and you have no idea if this big giant monster is close to death. Like, I totally get that and I respect it. I'm not ever going to say, hey, that's a dumb decision or don't do that. I just absolutely bristle against it. New trailer incoming. Yeah, 7 minutes of extended Wild Hearts gameplay. We're going to watch it together and break it down and see what we think. Would you rather know when you will die or how you would die? Health bars. Right. I respect it. It's just wrong. I'm not going to say that it's wrong because it's a genre choice. They're choosing to do something that's specific to the genre. They're saying, listen, you're hunting and no, we're not going to let you know. We're not going to let you know what the health of the enemy is. I think that's totally fine. It turns me off almost immediately. In World the Monsters icon have a heart line. The closer it gets to flatlining, the closer it is to death. It isn't wrong. It's wrong to you. Yeah, I wouldn't say that it's wrong. I would just say I genuinely just don't like it. I wonder if they have the health bars off as a setting in the options and the full game has health bars. Right, like, that's something that I would consider being a good choice, Corey. Now, I'm not going to ask for it. I'm not going to fight for it. I'm not going to say, change your game for me. But if you don't want to turn off the Monster Hunter fan base, I totally get that. It makes perfectly good sense to say, hey, this is an established genre. We're not going to be putting health bars on the enemies. However, those of you that play our game that feel like that would be a helpful tool, you can go into the menu and you can turn it on. One of the reasons that I like it, let me kind of explain myself. I wasn't sure if we would get here today, but here we are. We're talking health bars again, and that's totally fine. I love a good debate, and I've had more time to think about it and really process my position. One of the reasons that I would really love to see a health bar in a game like this is because I want to know what I'm doing that's good, what I'm doing that's not so good, and what I'm doing that's bad. Sometimes when you're fighting an enemy, your traditional or tried and true approach isn't very good, and the way that you know it is their health bar barely moves. You're like, oh, I'm barely hurting this guy. But in games like this, that sort of prologue to the fight, that intro to the fight, you're like, I don't know, maybe this is working, maybe it's not. So you almost have to time it or develop the game instinct that I don't have, but you develop a game instinct, and you're like, well, I know that was effective because it created a stun, or I can tell that the monster took a ton of damage, or I can tell that the monster is slowing down or whatever. So what I'm doing must be working. So I understand that there's probably a game instinct that many of you have formed But for me personally, when I fight an enemy, I'm going to look at that health bar. I did that in Timesia, and I completely changed my strategy in a boss fight that was giving me trouble. Why? Because I was watching the health bar, and I was like, well, that was really effective. So I went and changed my build, and I made some adjustments, and it made the fight go smoother. Now, I'm not saying that means that you need health bars in these games. I'm just trying to establish to you why I like a health bar. I'm trying to establish, like, why in a game like this I would enjoy a health bar. Very simply put, it gives me information that's helpful in strategy and approach and my build. Like, that's a pretty, I think, reasonable thing. I'm not saying it needs it. I'm not saying it's wrong not to have it. I am merely trying to establish why I look for one, why I would like to have one. For me personally, health bar, and I just lose interest, says Wheezy. A huge proponent of customizable HUDs, text size, transparency bars, HP numbers. Give me the options, and I have zero complaints, says Derek. Health bars and HP numbers is very arcadey, which is fine. Just give me the choice. Right, so you want to have the choice to turn it off, turn it on, turn one thing on. Maybe you want a health bar, but you don't want the health numbers popping up all over the place, right? There are definitely people that want to have, like, nothing on the screen. They want to strip it all down. They want to strip away the UI and have virtually nothing but gameplay. And then there are other people that want it to look like, you know, the Las Vegas Strip, and there's just flashing lights everywhere on their screen. If you guys are enjoying the coverage and you enjoy being here, keep in mind this is a safe for work broadcast. Usually I am in this scene having a conversation with the audience, and right now I'm in this scene so that anybody that stops in understands what we're getting ready to do. We are getting ready to watch the Wild Hearts 7 minutes of gameplay video that they're going to release. Yesterday we covered Dead Space gameplay. This guy left a comment on my short. He says, I don't understand people nowadays if all they care about is graphics and all this. It's like it really doesn't make no sense. I could care less what the game looks like if the story and the gameplay is engaging and pulls me in. Yes, but this is a $70 next-gen only remake. All of that means combing over the graphics makes perfect sense. It's being sold on that very value point. Like, I don't get people. You're literally selling me a $70 next-gen remake, and I'm not supposed to care about the graphics? That's literally part of the value that you're selling me. What the frick? I don't understand. I'm not critiquing an old game. Could we get 30 more likes on the video? Subscribing is free, by the way. Hit subscribe on my channel so you can talk in my chat. I'd love to hear from you on this health bar debate that we are having. How are you supposed to min-max a build without knowing its effects, says Eugene. Right, like, that's one of the things I'm saying. Like, you just, like, what, get out a stopwatch and you time and figure out. Again, I think they've just developed game instincts, and they know, yeah, this build's really good, this build kills them faster, this build does this. I hear where you're coming from, dude. Are you sure that we are not bruvs? Anyway, you're cool cat, keep it coming. Well, thank you, I appreciate that. Do I look like you, or you just think like me? Is that what you're saying? I don't get that either. Eugene says, it's being sold as a premium product. It gets judged by premium standards. That's what I don't understand. Remakes are all about graphics and performance. Exactly, Eknor. I'm like, I'm literally judging the game against what it's supposed to be doing. A remake is quite literally, the impetus for the remake is to make the game look better. Like, what the actual frick? Dead Space remake, original versus remake, gameplay trailer versus... Yeah, I guarantee you that's going to be the main focal point of people that are looking forward to that game, is they're just going to keep comparing it to the original and bully for you, but that's not good enough. That's not good enough. You could make any game look amazing after it's been that long. Like, come on. Monster Hunter World and Beyond is the most accessible. They have actual numbers, so you don't need to get the calculator out. Oh, so numbers pop up. Well, there's the answer to Eugene's question. You can min-max if numbers are popping up, right? If numbers are popping up, then you know, oh, my build is stronger, this attack is better, this weapon is better, this is better. Like, yeah, I mean, that's all you need then. If numbers are popping up, then you have all the information you need to min-max. My issue, again, is I just prefer to look at that health bar move, man. I'm like, ooh, that was really good. I'm going to try that again. Or, oh, that felt really strong. I'm going to do that one again. I think in general, one of the things about a health bar also is it creates that intensity. There's not this big vague unknown. You know what I mean? Oh, we think alike. But I'm a fat version of you from the UK. Well, it's good to meet you, Andy. Thank you for being here this morning. There are numbers, and the numbers change color for crit and weak points. Okay, Taylor. Okay. So someone looking to do that. Yo, Mr. Muggle Gaming coming back in with a Tier 2 membership. Thank you so much. We need like 7 more people to upgrade from Tier 1 to Tier 2. I think I'm going to start doing like a morning coffee segment or stream with you guys in the mornings before I go live. Literally just kind of carry you around with me in the mornings while I'm getting ready. All right, here we go. They did this last time. So I'm going to go like that. And then I need to turn off that. There we go. All right. Hang on. Let's do this. Oh, it's so relaxing. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to put my music back on. That's not great for background noise. That sounds like I'm in like an ASMR stream. Feel the sounds wash over you as the wind blows against the grass and the thistles. What's happening? Highest selling doesn't mean best or even good. It just means that people bought it. What are you talking about? I'm hoping this builds fancy says the highest selling games have no stories. FIFA, COD, etc. Oh, well, yeah, but I don't think what Corey was saying is that you need a story to be good. You're kind of injecting the pillars. He trotted out those pillars saying it makes perfectly good sense to judge something for its graphics. It's one of the 3 main things people judge a game against, right? Like that. I think you might be injecting his point with something that's not there. Yo, what's good, Geritol? Tier 2 ASMR video? Yeah, there you go. At least this is 2 minutes. I hate when they start the stream and there's like a 60-minute countdown. Yeah, they did this last time. I think this is a perfectly good way to do it. Yeah. A perfectly good way to bring people into the new gameplay. So if you guys are here right now, do me a favor before this goes live. Smash the like button, hit subscribe so you can talk in my chat, and stick around for the breakdown afterwards. Don't just drive by and leave. Hang out with us and enjoy a little bit of a breakdown. My music is literally fading with the countdown. That's brilliant. I didn't do that. Why is he walking like that? Are y'all hearing this music? Oh, dang. They're going to show us a death. Okay. Love it. Oh, oh, oh. Why do you got to do it there? Sound design is so stellar in this. The crunchy feet, the stabbing, the music. Excellent work on the sound and the original soundtrack. I love that he's sliding and not just rolling out of the way. It seems more like finesse than just rolling like a weirdo. Yo, player 3 arrived mid-fight. Bro, I don't need health bars. This looks so fun. This looks so fun. I don't need health bars. All right, guys, stick around. We're going to loop the video, okay? We're going to loop the video. We are going to watch that a couple of times. I really, really think they have upped the ante. The first video was good. This video is excellent. Like, I don't care about health bars now. I want to play this game. Like, I want to play this game, bro. They did such a great job. That fight looks so fun. You know, I take back my position on health bars. That was awesome. Yeah, I feel like other than him walking a little funny, I don't have any issues with this trailer after a first watch. Now, I might see something on second watch. Keep in mind, I just upped the resolution. Premieres always look a little bit bad, so always remember to re-watch a video after the premiere and turn the resolution up, because now you're probably going to notice the world and the grass and the characters don't look fuzzy. They look a lot more distinct. Now, I enjoy, this is one of the first things I think that they're doing that I think looks really, really cool. You don't just use your buildings for fights, you use it for traversal. Look at what he's doing here. He just climbed a frickin' mountain with a reverse zip line on a harpoon gun, basically. Elden Ring should have no health bars. I mean, that wouldn't fly with that community. Okay, so you can just straight up climb like in Breath of the Wild as well. He runs just fine. It's the walking that's a little bit weird. The other thing I like that they did is they showed him losing. Now, the question would be, and maybe you Monster Hunter guys can help me here, right? Maybe you guys can help me out here. Does losing this fight change the layout of the world? Because the tusk, the whatever they call this thing, it relocates after he dies. So does that mean the fights change and the world adjusts if you lose? People are saying no. Okay. So do you think they did that in this game, though? So maybe they don't do that in Monhun, but watch what happens. Oh, monsters always move areas. Okay. So he's not moving in response to the death. He's just moving, and so he sees him there relocate. He goes inside. He goes down a little bridge into almost like a dojo-like area. My coworkers are driving me nuts today. Both my bosses are out. That's the worst. What's good, Louise? Good morning, everybody. Guys, make sure and smash that like button. We're doing a bit of a breakdown of Wild Hearts' new gameplay. Let's shoot for 300 likes. There's plenty of you here. If you missed it, stay here for the rewatch, but stay here also for the conversations and the breakdowns. Let me get out of the way there and back that one up for you. Let me back that one up. So he gets some ingredients here. Mud bloat toad. He gets a dragon crest stone, cubed meat, number of possessions, and then ingredient 7 out of 20. I'm not sure what the 7 out of 20 is. Oh, he got 7. Okay, so 2 plus 5. Number of possessions is a total. Maybe you can only carry 20 ingredients at a time. There is a little bit of a hitch there in the water. There's a frame stutter right there, so they might have to do some optimization, but that's not too bad. I've not seen too much in the fights that cause me concern about frame rate or frame stutters. I think the game looks very, very good. Here again, someone builds something. The co-op player builds a harpoon reverse zip line, so they're able to zip up the stairs to get up here a little bit quicker. Bit easier to explore. Well, the interesting choice they made with co-op as well is that you can join mid-fight. I also like the sliding as opposed to just rolling. Like, he rolls there, but he also has a slide that he can use, see? So he has both a roll and a slide. So your traversal and your iframes are seemingly used in two different ways. Because he definitely has iframes when he's sliding. Right there. I mean, there's no way that wasn't an iframe execution. At least I don't think so. Now, use of the mechanism in this fight is really, really cool. We see a mallet there. You can see the other person using, the towers and the little helicopter glider. And then there's going to be a pretty significant wall that he builds at some point. What are you saying? Pause it on the stuff that's spewing out of the hog's mouth. We'll do a couple rewatches and we'll do some pauses. Yeah, right here, he builds 2, and he stops him, and look what he does. He stuns him, and this ushers in, I believe this ushers in a phase 2. Or no, maybe this person ushers in a phase 2. Yeah. So he chops off one of the tusks with that move, right? And then does this usher in the phase 2 now that he's mad that now he's ticked. So now he kind of flames up and his tusks rebuild slightly and get bigger. And then this brings in the third player. So there appears to be a live drop-in, drop-out mechanic. Now, whether or not somebody asked, like, is it going to be open-world instances where people can just join you? I highly doubt that. It says player 3 has joined, indicating they've joined your party. They've joined your group. I don't think you're just going to have people, like, wandering into your fights. He's enraged. Yeah, so there is an enraged mechanic. Apparently, that might be tied to chopping certain pieces of them off. Player 3 is obviously me. As soon as he joined, got serious. It seems like the Monster Hunter joining, hopefully. Is that how they do it in Monhun? Okay, and so here they also show some obviously this is going to be like emergent gameplay where everybody can kind of do their own thing, but you can also work together. So this guy's going to throw this thing and blow up your bomb right in his face. That puts him down. And then obviously that's an opportunity for people to do tons of damage, but he gets up relatively quickly. The damage showing on the boss, I think, is pretty clear. You can see evidences of slices on his side. It looks like he maybe even has spears in him. I don't know if those are from the fight. We'll have to watch at the beginning to see if those spears are already there. It's almost like a decorative, people have tried to kill this guy many times and failed. He has some sort of a status effect on his side there, it looks like, from one of the players, like a green ball. We'll go back and do some freeze frames in a moment. And then this seems to be the kill shot, just sort of like a quick time thing, just for celebration and for fun. There's so much detail on the boss. The audio. Yes, the audio design was so good. Do you know the release date for this? Yes, the release date for this is February the 23rd or 27th. It's releasing in February, so actually quite soon. And it is a next-gen only title. PS5, Series X and S, and PC. So they have Learn More there, but their official release date, I believe, is... I forget which date in February. Because when we watched the reveal trailer... Oh, I'm sorry, the 17th of February. Thank you, Mitch. Yeah, February 17th. It is Xbox Series X, PlayStation 5, and PC only. And they say, gameplay not final. It's not representative of the final product. Thank you, everybody in chat, helping out with the release date. So the Wild Hearts release date is February 17th, 2023. Your audio is choppy? No, it's not. There's almost 400 people here. If my audio was choppy, people would have complained. Unless YouTube's having a problem, we did just have a gigantic viewership drop. That could be because the video came to an end, or maybe YouTube's having an issue. I don't know. If my audio was choppy, there'd be way more people complaining. I had to refresh because of audio. Yeah, thanks, YouTube. Always a pleasure streaming on YouTube, having a great banner day, and they basically cut 100 viewers out of the stream by having buffering issues or audio. I'm so freaking tired of that. They have got to figure this out. It is so exhausting streaming 5 and 6 hours a day and constantly losing viewership and momentum, and then the algorithm will punish us for that. They'll be like, oh, you lost a bunch of viewers, so your video must suck. Thanks, YouTube. YouTube blipped hard and had you stuttering. It wasn't on my end. I haven't dropped any frames. My bitrate's solid in Task Manager, so that's so frustrating. And I know it's not on my end, because if it was my end, everybody would hear it, not just some of you. You know what I mean? Let's criticize them publicly. That'll help. I will criticize them publicly. They need to get their frickin' act together. It's tiring being on the biggest platform in the world, and they can't have, like, a live stream not have problems. It's beyond toleration at this point. It's inexcusable. How does it run on the Xbox Series S? I can't believe it runs. Looks like amazing resource-heavy game. I mean, they've not said what gameplay they're showing us. I don't know what this is running on. This could be I would imagine, I would imagine that they would probably be building this and showing this on vertical PC slice, right? That would be my guess. Usually when you're showcasing gameplay like this, it's easier for them to build a PC vertical slice and just show it to you there. So, I don't know. Did they say S or only X? I'm fairly certain. I'd have to check their website. I don't know if their website officially states it or not. Wild Hearts Game. Hang on. Go to their website. Yeah, they're just putting the coming soon to PC, PS5, and the Xbox Series X. They don't list the S on their website. Hang on a minute. I'm not kidding you. They don't list the S. It literally says it's not a logo. I know there are logos that omit the S, and we found games that omit the S that we know are landing on Series X and S, but it 100% on their website says coming soon to PC, PS5, and Xbox Series X. Now, they can put the pipe and the S like so many other websites do, like so many other people do. So, I don't know. This might be the beginning of my prediction. I'm telling you, I've made numerous predictions, and I was told I was an idiot. I was told there was no way. I was told I was stupid. I had all these insults and criticisms thrown my way. And I'm telling you, there are going to be third-party games that skip out on the S because they just can't get their game to run on it. I'm telling you right now, it's coming at some point. And I'm not saying every game. I'm saying some third-party games are going to do that. 100%. No doubt in my mind. Guys, whenever we have those blips and those problems, it really does help the video if you smash the like button, maybe gift a member, do a super chat, do something to communicate that, hey, this stream's still popping. We only need 50 more likes for 300 likes. A like milestone can go a long way when we have a blip like that. So do me a favor. Do all the free things. Subscribing is free. Pressing the like button is free. Lono's the Miss Cleo of gaming. He predicted the devs would start skipping the S. Hang on. Here's an official press release. Hang on. There have been places that have omitted the S, and then we look deeper, and it lands on both. Yeah, no, they're using the pipe in their official press release, so it is landing on the S. Okay, it hasn't happened yet. This game is not proving me right yet. This one is landing on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, Pipe S, and PC via Origin, Steam, and the Epic Games Store. Publisher under the EAoriginals label. So the official press release does state that it's coming on both. The website just doesn't use that pipe. I don't know why they're doing that. I really don't know why they're doing that. It's not hard to put the pipe in the S. It really, really isn't. I mean, they put it in the press release. Like, imagine owning the S. Like, think about this from a marketing standpoint with me. Imagine you own the Xbox Series S, and you go to this game's website. What are you going to think when you scroll down and you see that, right? Took me a while to find your channel. I don't know why. You're the second person to say that today. I don't know. YouTube's probably doing another experiment. It's probably why we had some buffering and some blips. I don't know what they're doing. A week ago, I was on everybody's homepage, and now I have people coming and telling me today they couldn't find me. I know you don't like it, but any game released on the X will be on the S. Microsoft won't allow that. It's not up to Microsoft. What do you mean? If I'm a third-party company making my game, Microsoft can't dictate anything to me. Do you honestly think if a game company goes to Microsoft and they say, listen, we're making a multi-platform game, we built it for PC, we've been optimizing it for the Series X and the PS5, and we cannot get this game to run well on the Series S, okay? What do you think Xbox is going to say? Then don't bring your game to our platform? What do you think that means? What do you think is going to happen? Oh, now it's a PC PlayStation 5 exclusive? They're not going to do that. They're not going to inadvertently give PlayStation an exclusive. They simply won't support the game. Oh, that sounds brilliant, Kratos. So they're going to turn their back on potential sales of maybe, let's say it's a pretty big game, right? Let's say it's a pretty big game. They're going to turn their back on the sales of that game, and they're going to inadvertently hand a console exclusive to Sony. They're going to say, no, we don't want your game then. Either you think Microsoft is going to be able to tell a developer to spend more time and bandwidth to optimize their game for the Series S. And then if they don't, Microsoft's going to be like, well, then you can't sell on our platform. Captain Steve says, I like the looks of this one. It's on my watch list now. Will it beat Monster Hunter? I don't think it'll beat Monster Hunter. Monster Hunter is a force to be reckoned with. That's kind of like asking, can an RPG beat Final Fantasy? Like, I don't know if anybody can step onto this landscape or genre and beat Monhun. I think they could certainly scoop up a ton of the Monhun audience because this is launching February 17th next year. That means they have all of 2023 to scoop up a ton of fans because there won't be a Monhun. Speculation is stating, 2024? At least that's what Wheezy said this morning. Microsoft has already publicly said they'll allow it. They had to assure developers it's a pretty big story. We went back and looked at the timing of those statements, Eugene, and it seemed like they were saying they would allow developers to make games for the Xbox Series X and not the Xbox One. The timing of those interviews, it's tough because they happened in July and then the Series S was announced in September. I still think, looking back at those interviews, that they are essentially saying, yeah, if somebody wants to make a game just for the X, they can. I still read those interviews that way, but the timing of those interviews makes that point a little bit more challenging. You know? Like, the Series S is running more games at 120 than the PS5. It should be worried about the PS5 version. Like, come on, bro. Yeah, but again, Sebastian, you're doing the same thing you always do. You're just a dishonest person. The Xbox Series X is not running more games at 120. It has done FPS boost to a bunch of old games. That means nothing about the processing power of the thing, of the console. Are you actually going to try to claim that fact means that the system is stronger or better than the PS5? You're just dishonest. I don't even respect you anymore. I had a modicum amount of respect for you because you would come in here and you wouldn't insult people, but I'm done with you. I'm done with people who are dishonest in the way that they argue. Take your lies, take your lack of integrity, and find some other stream to disrupt with your lazy, dead takes. Jay Beans with the 3-month milestone. Thank you for the last 2 or 3 gifted, says Jay Beans. I highly enjoy it here. I'll be getting my own membership if allowed. Well, thank you, Jay Beans. Make sure, guys, if you got gifted a membership, to jump back in on your own. It frees up space for other folks to get membership. Dan coming back in with 16 months. Yeah, 120 FPS at 720. That's what I'm saying. Like, going back to ancient games, boosting their FPS, and they're running at 720 resolution. That means nothing, bro. That would be like bragging about your computer. My computer's really strong. Okay, what kind of a computer do you have? That's not the point. I can run 10 and 15-year-old games at 120. Okay, so can my computer with the 2080 Ti. And you find out the guy's got some limping PC and he has to play old games to get 120 FPS. Like, it doesn't prove anything. Like, it's just silly. Again, it's just like, it's all this smuggled in dishonesty every time we have these discussions. It's not lies, homies. Xbox is more powerful than PS5. No, it's not. No, it's not. I've read 3 different articles. I've watched 2 different videos. Anybody claiming something is stronger than the other is lying. The Sony fans that claim the PS5 is stronger, they're lying. The people that claim the Series X is stronger than the PS5, they're lying. Anybody with even the most moderate amount of technical knowledge knows that's a bunch of bull. It's not true. The Series X and the PS5 are basically lock in step with each other with respect to processing power, graphical fidelity, and performance. There has not been a single breakdown of a multi-plat game that's come out yet that has shown one system to be stronger than the other. Anybody saying one system stronger than the other is just a lying fan. Like, PS5 fans do the same thing. They do the same thing. They'll claim that the PS5 is so much stronger than the Series X. No, that's not true. That's just fandom. That's just fandom. It isn't true. There's so many tech experts on this that have weighed in and said, no, these systems are virtually interchangeable with respect to strength. What's this from Paul? To start things off, Halo Infinite on the Series S rarely hits 120 in reality. Game hovers around 90 in a lot of the outdoor scenes, and the big team modes in multiplayer. Resolutions drop as low as 540 to hit those numbers. Yeah, congratulations. Your game drops to lower resolution than old-gen games to hit 60 or 120 FPS. Well done. I can't wait to play your postage stamp resolution game. Like, give me a frickin' break. Imagine playing a next-gen game at 540 to achieve roughly 90 FPS and thinking that's some kind of a technological achievement. Isn't fanboy arguments hilarious these days? As a PlayStation owner, the only thing I get chafed about is exclusives. I could care who's stronger than the other. Both consoles are comparable, says Steve. I'll go PS5 over Xbox only due to the PSVR 2 coming soon and the haptic feedback functionality and the immersion. Well, right now I boot up my PlayStation more than my Xbox because it's got more new games to play. Like, Xbox doesn't have any new next-gen titles right now. They've got... Oh, sorry about that. They have Halo Infinite, which limped onto the battlefield and fell flat on its face. Rumors are indicating that, 343 is on a hiring freeze and considering moving to a new engine. And then they have Forza. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not even hate. It's like, it's just literal gamer interest. I want to play new, awesome, next-gen games. That's what I want to do. It is. It's why I want to play Starfield. It's why I want to play Redfall. I don't care where those games land. I was interested in Starfield before it was owned by Microsoft, and I still am interested in Starfield. Wild Hearts, who's buying it? So you might be like, why are you guys console warring right now? Well, we went to the Wild Hearts website. Could we get 20 more likes on the video? Come on, guys. Let's try to hit 300 likes before the first hour of the broadcast is up. We went to the Wild Hearts website, and it looked like this game was going to be on the Series X and not the Series S. That is false. The official press release shows that this thing will be landing on both. It will be landing on both. And so that is not true. So we got on that subject. One of the reasons we got on that subject is I am on record stating there will be third-party developers that skip the Xbox Series S. It will happen. It's not strong enough. Recently, due to dev complaint, Microsoft literally increased the allocated memory. It was such a small amount, it will likely make almost no difference in performance of games at all. But they're trying, right? They're trying to increase memory allocation. Xbox says developers won't be limited by the Series X. Okay, Xbox says that. That's not what developers have been saying, Kratos. There are at least 4 different developers, 4 different companies that have stated that the Series S is going to be a problem. I'm going to trust them over the people trying to sell me the box. Captain Steve says, love your background tunes, chap. 80 synth vibes, like Kung Fu Fury. This is actually royalty-free music from Stream Tunes. Like Devin Nash's company put this together. You can submit your channel to be whitelisted on their website, and then you can use their music. I think their synthwave is miles better than Harris Heller's synthwave. Regardless, Microsoft has to support their product. That's from 2020. Yeah, I'm not questioning whether or not Microsoft's going to support their product. Who are the devs that said that? Genuinely curious, as I have not seen that. 2 of the guys from ID Software. Two of the guys were from ID Software that talked about this. They were like high-level developers at the makers of Doom are like, yeah, that's going to be a problem. They described it as having drastically lower amounts of memory. People that actually make games, people that actually make bonkers, crazy, awesome games were like, yeah, that's going to be a problem. We can't ignore this reality. And the devs, listen, it was literally a headline, Detective Seeds. Like, Kratos put it in my chat trying to defend Microsoft. Microsoft lets Xbox Series X devs increase console memory. That was in response to complaint from devs. You think Microsoft is assigning engineers to allocate more memory in the dev kits because they feel like they want to be charitable? No. They literally did that because the literal devs making games are like, bro, this is a problem. We need more memory. That's a pretty serious deal. Ronald has confirmed that while the Series S will target 1440 resolution, the system is fully capable of outputting a 4K signal and will be up to game developers to decide what native resolution they want to be rendering at. Oh my gosh. When was that stated? That thing will never hit 4K. Why would you even say that? I'm not defending Microsoft. I actually don't like Microsoft. Two guys said it was going to be an issue, and that leads to the conclusion. No, you're being uncharitable now. Don't be uncharitable. I don't have patience for that. He said who has stated it, and I cited 2 people. I'm sorry I don't have every single developer that stated it memorized. Like, do you trust me as a commentator or not? Like, you seriously are going to put me on blast because I could only name 2 people? The frick out of here with that. You either trust me or you don't. If I'm just somebody who blows smoke and is foolish, then get out of my chat and get out of my stream. Seriously. Don't do that. Don't do that. We've covered this up one side, down the other. I'm not just sitting here sputtering out nonsense. There have been developers that have expressed irritation, frustration, and concern with the lack of memory in the Series S. I'm sorry I don't have every developer and their full name and rank memorized for you, Kratos. Jiminy frickin' Christmas. He asked me who has stated it, and I cited 2 people that I could remember off the top of my head. That's uncalled for. I'm having a discussion. Yeah, making it sound... Yeah, that's uncalled for. Read what you said, bro. Read what you said. You said 2 guys said it and you're convinced? That's not what I stated. That's not what I stated, bro. I have 0 patience for some of y'all that come in here and want to cherry pick milliseconds of my commentary and run to the end zone like you scored. Like, the whistle's been blown, bro. The play's dead. Like, you don't actually have possession of the ball. That's not what I said. I did not say 2 people said it and now I'm concerned. It's been an ongoing narrative surrounding the Series S. Don't friggin' do that. Don't cherry pick my commentary. I'm tired of that. I was asking who stated because I had not seen it. I personally wasn't implying anything. No. Not you, Detective Seeds. Not you. You asked a question. Your question was legitimate. You're like, I've not seen anybody said anything. I'm legitimately curious who said it, right? I'm legitimately curious who said it. And I cited, off the top of my head, the 2 people that I could remember. There were 2 guys from ID Software. There was also somebody in the same article that we read from another company. Like, I'm not just pulling this stuff out of my rear end. It's been an ongoing narrative about the Series S. I don't know. Wheezy says, I got to go to class, but I'll say they're very strategic with the release date because by then, the support for Monster Hunter Rise will be slowing down. But if Rise was another content infusion before summer of next year, I feel bad for Wild Hearts. I know Rise will have at least 2 or 3 more content patches before next summer. So Wheezy's saying that their release date, the Wild Hearts release date in February is likely in response to Monster Hunter. There we go. We got good shelf treatment on that Dead Space short. Is Lono mistaking you? No, like, literally. I was asked a simple question, all right? Hey, somebody ordered some coffee 10 minutes ago. 3 dark roasts for Predator. Thank you, Predator, for ordering some Reforge roast. I was asked a very simple question. The question was, what developers are saying that? I cited the ones that I thought had the most clout. I cited 2 guys from ID Software. Now, if you want to dismiss them because there's only 2 of them, that's probably to your peril, right? If somebody from a company that size says this is going to be a problem, you have to take it under consideration. You can't be like, well, there's only 2. There's only 2. So, and then there was at least 2 other devs that said something. And dismiss them all you want, Microsoft's literally in disagreement with you. You look foolish because Microsoft quite literally responded to the complaints about lack of memory. So, welcome to Wrongville, population U. It's a serious problem if Microsoft is addressing it. I don't think it's a problem. I think you're overstating it. Oh, well, I'm glad that you disagree with the very company that you're defending, because they are literally responding to complaints from devs. So I guess all those devs are stupid. I guess all those devs are dumb. I guess they need to work harder. They're probably lazy and didn't want to do optimization work. And good thing Daddy Microsoft is there to help them out and give them more memory. Come on. If it's coming from ID Software, they're a first-party studio, so it carries more weight. ID Software is a first-party studio at this point under Microsoft? Making games playable on lower-end PCs might make more sense, considering how many players are in the pool compared to Xbox S owners. At some point, it will cut losses, so I agree with Lono. Eventually, that's the point I've always tried to make about this, is eventually, if you look at video games, right, look at the trajectory of PC games and the minimum specs required, okay? I want you to see, generally speaking, every time new games come out, the minimum specs go up because they're doing more. You want to play this new game? Your system's too weak, it's too old. I remember that happened to me with Call of Duty Modern Warfare and Gears of War. My system was too old, the minimum specs required, I needed a quad-core processor, and I didn't have one. I had an older computer, right? So the minimum specs required consistently rises as games continue to come out. And that's been a concern with the Series S that I have had, that the minimum specs required on console games, it's already behind the two systems that are tied. The Series X and the PS5 are basically tied. So if a game company says, let's squeeze everything we can out of the Series X and the PS5, what do you think they're going to do when they walk over to the Series S? They're going to have more work to do. And the question remains, are they going to want to do that more work if it's going to hurt the quality of the game and if it's going to cost them more money? And the reason we're talking about this is we're looking at a game right now, this game right here in front of us. Wild Hearts gameplay is what we're looking at, and this game is a next-gen only game. It's going to be PC, PS5, and then it's going to land on the Series X and the S. And that makes you have to wonder, is this thing going to run well on the Series S if they built it to run as good as possible on a Series X and a PS5, both systems that are stronger than the Series S? It doesn't have a disk drive, that's the only drawback? That is not, no, that's, what are you talking about? Are you talking about the Series S or something else? That's not, if you're talking about the Series S, that's not true. Like a third party could put out a 540 30 FPS version of a game on the S. Right, but that's the question. You guys are presuming and assuming that developers are going to want to do that. What's the one common theme that we've noticed in game development over the years? In all the years I've commentated games with you, what's the one thing that constantly frustrates us? What is it? It's the focus on resolution. Right? Yo, Joe Vivian, thanks for jumping back in as a member. We were constantly frustrated by resolution. 4K this, 4K that, 4K this, 4K that. And a lot of us are like, please just give us good frames. I just want 60 FPS. I just want good FPS. I just want good frames per second. So, if they're constantly trying to push graphical fidelity and lighting, if they want ray tracing, if they want cooler reflections, if they want cooler this or cooler that with textures, and they want higher resolutions, you have to consider what that's going to do to a system that already, when you look at breakdowns of performance, the Series S is falling behind. What remains of Edith Finch? I watched a side-by-side on Digital Foundry, and the Series S looked like a frickin' slideshow. Eugene says the day will come where a third-party dev has to decide to support the S or provide an inferior experience to the one they want to provide. And if Microsoft says you have to support the S, the devs will say, F your platform. Yeah. I think that's coming. I agree. I think that's coming. As someone who has a Series S, literally, so my wife can binge Disney Dreamlight at this point, there's a lot of holdbacks in the console to prevent it from next-gen experiences. What happened to 8K? My PS5 box is 8K. Where is that? They didn't talk about 8K games in any of the marketing around the PS5. The reason 8K is on the box is because it's 8K compatible and there are 8K televisions. They've not put out a single piece of marketing that talked about, like, you're going to be able to play 8K games. All the marketing around both the Series X and the PS5 focused on 4K. They focused on 120 FPS. They did not focus on 8K. 8K's on the box because there are 8K televisions. You can watch 8K movies, and there is one 8K game on the PS5. If you think that's some kind of a dunk or some kind of an L, like some kind of a W, like that has nothing to do with the discussion. If you hate the Series S graphics, then why not switch to PC? You can customize it to your play style. Well, again, I don't have anything against the Series S. See, this is what always gets lost in the shuffle, because people get their hackles raised and they start being like uber defensive. This is not about me attacking Microsoft or your favorite piece of plastic. This is a market prediction. I am predicting that the market of next-gen games will push the envelope, right? It'll push the envelope. They're going to want things to look prettier, shinier, and better. And every time we've seen this, okay, every time we've seen this in the gaming world, what happens when the devs push the shiny textures and the ray tracing and the lighting and the shading? What happens? Performance suffers every single time. So which platform, pray tell, do you think is going to suffer the most on this next-gen trajectory that we find ourselves on? Which one? The weakest system. Look at how often the Nintendo Switch gets skipped, by the way. It gets skipped a lot. Right now, there are games coming out, and there's not even a launch date for the Switch. They're like, yeah, there's no launch date for the Switch. We don't even know when it's coming. Because they're probably trying to optimize the dadgum thing for the Switch. So you need to think about something. The Series S is soon going to become the Switch in the equation. They're going to look at that. They're going to look at it and say, I just don't know. I just don't know if it's worth it. When did IP complain about the Series S? They were purchased by Microsoft in 2021 as they're under ZeniMax. I believe the interview was late 2020, Phantom Phoenix. That's dumb if your platform, so skipping PC, no shot. They don't have to skip PC. If they skip the Microsoft platform, homie, they can launch on one of the largest gaming platforms in the world. It's called Steam. You keep thinking devs can skip the Series S? Yeah, they can. They can. Did you see the interview? Did you see the interview where a spokesperson from Microsoft said that their first-party developers build their games for the Series X first, and then they figure out how to get it to run on the weaker systems? Did you see that interview? Those are first-party developers, by the way. So, similar things are likely to happen with third-party games. They're going to build the game for the Series X first. Let's see just how high we can take this thing. How high can we fly this bird? And then, when they go to trim it down for the Series S, they might quite literally say, we can't get it to work. I'm telling you right now, there will be an article, there will be a leak, an expose, something, probably written by Jason Schreier. And you know what that article's going to say? The real reason that Starfield was delayed was because they had to optimize it for the Series S. That's the real reason for Starfield's delay. Dollars to donuts. I would put $50 on the table and be like, yep, I bet you cash money that the real reason Starfield got delayed is because of the Series S. There were rumors that Starfield was going to be a PS5 timed exclusive. They were likely not even considering the Series S. Delayed but not skipped. Kratos, Starfield is a first-party developer. You're not proving anything. Microsoft probably quite literally said, you're going to get this thing to run on the S because, well, we own you now. So, I've been saying that third-party developers, as in, I don't know, Bethesda, before they were acquired, was, according to rumors, Bethesda was considering doing a timed PS5 exclusive with Starfield. Do you honestly think they were going to do that and then kick it over to the Series X and S? No, they would have kicked it over to the X only. And if Microsoft said no to that, then well done. You just handed PlayStation another exclusive. And it didn't cost PlayStation any money. Are you going to cover the New World DLC released on October the 18th? I highly doubt that. Isn't COD? Can I play COD on that day? Yeah, I'm talking about the future. Screw Scarfield, I just want Grounded on PlayStation. I'd love to play that game. I hate exclusives. Yeah, I think exclusives increase quality, though. There's plenty of devs that have talked about building for one system and why it increases quality. The idea that exclusives are inherently bad, I don't think it has any legs. That proves your point. They had to optimize for an inferior console. Yeah, if they... Listen. Oh my gosh. This is not about attacking a console. This is about observing the market. I want you to think about all the things that are observable in the market right now. We've had multiple devs speak out about the limited memory of the Series S, and they have said that it would be a problem. We have commentary from Microsoft saying their first-party devs build games for the Series X first, and then they can choose whether or not they want to have it land on other platforms, okay? Then Microsoft pushes out an update to allow there to be more memory on the Series S due to dev complaints. Then you have a first-party title, Starfield, gets delayed after Todd Howard says the date's set in ink, after they've been, promoting the game and saying everything's good to go. Seemingly, this happens after the purchase from Microsoft, and seemingly, according to rumors, Starfield was going to be a limited time console exclusive for the PS5. So, I don't know how you look at all that and say, no, man, I don't think so. There's no problems with the Series S. Like, I'm just doing market analysis. Oh, let's also throw into this market analysis all of the videos that have been done by places like Digital Foundry showing games like What Remains of Edith Finch, not even a graphically demanding game, running very poorly on the Series S. Or we could talk about Halo Infinite hitting like 540 resolution just to hit high frames per second. 540, bro. They have to run dynamic 1080 to hit 60 FPS, and it doesn't even stay at 1080. 1080 is an old-gen resolution. I don't know how you look at everything I just trotted out, and your summary is that I guess I'm just being a hater, and I don't know what I'm talking about. Like, I don't know how you come to that conclusion. Deathloop is next gen by Bethesda. It runs fine on the Series S. Did you look at the actual analysis of how that game is hitting 60 FPS? You might want to check yourself. Deathloop is not running an impressive performance on the Series S. It isn't. Oh, and Deathloop doesn't have next gen graphics either. They're not doing ray tracing. It's not doing anything with the actual worlds or the textures that would make it like a difficult game to run. You come off arrogant AF. This is going to sound arrogant, but I'm not bothered or concerned by the opinions of strangers on the internet who want to judge me based on a sampling of content. If you think I sound arrogant, you can find Sunday on the calendar. Find Sunday. Get your phone out. Find Sunday. It's a couple of days away. You can frick off all the way to Sunday. Deathloop next gen looks like it's on par with Dishonored. And nothing in Deathloop looks next gen. I can definitely imagine mid to late gen where games could be possibly can't run on the S. What Lono is saying is not far-fetched. Deathloop has ray tracing, but not on the Series S. Isn't God of War Ragnarok coming out on PS4? So does that mean it has limitations? I don't get this. Oh my gosh. Everybody always wants to invoke God of War Ragnarok, which is a fundamental misunderstanding of the point that I'm making, Parkour. I'm going to go easy on you, because it's probably easy to miss this. That's not an equivalency, and let me explain why that's not an equivalency, okay? God of War Ragnarok is being built on an existing engine and with existing assets. Virtually every sequel does that. Those assets and that engine can run on PS4. Engines have a spectrum of performance. So, it was a planned PS4 game, right? It was planned to be that, okay? And it can run that way. The God of War engine on the PC port has proven itself to be a very, very good engine that can make a game look incredible. So they can go into that game and make the game look next gen. A good example would be the Unreal Engine. The Unreal 4 engine was so agile, they were able to squeeze 60 FPS out of Fortnite on old-gen systems. I'm talking about old-gen, like PS4, Xbox One. They got those systems to hit 60 FPS, and now it's Unreal 5. What that means is when you're working in an engine and you're using those assets, you can update those things to be next-gen to make them look awesome on the PlayStation 5, while also still being agile enough to run on the PS4. My argument has continued to be that the technology world moves forward, okay? And the proof of that is found in that God of War Ragnarok is the final cross-generationally supported first-party title. Now, what that means is that they're going to start pushing games like Spider-Man 2 and Wolverine. Spider-Man 2 will be one of the first PlayStation 5 only first-party titles outside of, like, obviously, like Returnal and Ratchet and Clank. And they're pushing things in that game that won't be possible on the PS4, okay? So when you look at that, you have to see, okay, the technology world's going to move forward. Even Sony's going to do it. Even Sony's going to get to the point where they leave behind their precious PlayStation 4, which is a difficult decision because the PlayStation 4 market saturation is incredible. There's like 120 million PlayStation 4s in circulation. So consider that as a market standard, that everything moves forward. They want to do more. They want to show off more. They want to hit higher graphical fidelity. And when they do that, minimum technological specs goes up. This can be also demonstrated in the PC world. Every time a new game comes out that looks awesome and performs awesome and is doing all the cool, shiny new stuff, they put out minimum specs, and they're higher than, you know, the previous versions of games or the previous generations of games. So my prediction has been this. It's a very simple prediction. It's based on the market. It's based on analysis of the performance of the Series S. It's based on feedback from the devs. It's based on Microsoft's own response to dev complaint, okay? If you take the dev complaints, Microsoft's response, the constraints of the actual Series S, and you look at the market's trend and the market's pattern, it stands to reason to think there might come a day in the future where a third-party developer says the Series S is too weak for our game. We did way too much cool stuff. We tapped into the power of the PS5 and the Series X. We're doing all this awesome stuff. It's woven into the fabric of the game. We can't just turn it off. It's not like ray tracing or, oh, turn the resolution down or shrink the draw distance. My prediction is very basic. There are going to be third-party developers that are not owned by Microsoft, that are pushing too much in the game, and they can't optimize it for the Series S. It's a very reasonable prediction. It's not hate. It's not some ravenous, shooting from the hip, anti-Xbox commentary. It's based on so much. I didn't fall backwards into this one day because, like, I saw a video of the Series S and thought, that looks like crap, and then I dreamed this up. I've read multiple articles, I've watched multiple side-by-side comparisons, and then Microsoft themselves are trying to address the issue. So that's been my prediction. And my other prediction is this. Starfield is going to run like absolute hot, steaming garbage on the Series S, and everybody's going to blame Bethesda. You write that one down. You put that one on your refrigerator. Write it in big crayon on the Post-it note. Lono says that Starfield is going to run real bad on the Series S, and everybody's going to blame Bethesda. Yeah, they're just lazy. They couldn't figure out how to optimize their game when Halo Infinite has to run at dynamic 1080 just to hit 60 FPS. Halo Infinite, by the way. That's not even that graphically demanding of a game. Dynamic 1080. Dynamic 1080 is old gen. Starfield's going to run like butt on all platforms. Now, Spriggan, if that is true, then obviously my prediction doesn't hold as much weight. It doesn't hold as much water. Sure. If it's a buggy mess, then, I don't know, maybe leaks will come out that they were not intending to build for Xbox. They were building for PlayStation 5 first, and the Xbox build was more cobbled together because they had to, you know, increase or shorten the timeline. Easy to blame Bethesda. I think the case for this prediction, it'll be more than unfair. Right. All y'all understand what RAM is, right? The prediction is ironclad, rock solid, says Hilly. Over time, games require increasing hardware to keep up, and weak systems fall off. This has happened since Pong. It's just such... I just feel like it's so fair. I'm not being a hater. Yes, Lono sounds arrogant at times, but it comes from him being right about so many predictions pretty consistently. Just wait till I get to cover the Herman Holst interview. Oh, I'm chomping at the bit. Chomping at the bit to cover that one. And a lot of it's not arrogance. A lot of it's relief. Because when I make predictions, I get a ton of insults, criticism, and pushback. So it's not even arrogance. It's almost like, I told you so. Like, I was called in. Remember, I always cite this one. I played Fortnite for 2 hours, and I said, this game will be bigger than PUBG. I had people clipping me, calling me an idiot. I literally had clips on my channel that was said, listen to this idiot. And they must have promoted it somewhere because it had thousands of views. I had people calling me an idiot and that I didn't know what I was talking about. I played Fortnite for 2 hours. Like, this can be bigger than PUBG. And sometimes it just feels relieving to be like, I was called all sorts of nasty names and called a fanboy and criticized for making this prediction when I don't feel like I'm making a hate-riddled prediction. I feel like I'm just doing market analysis. And then when it comes true, yeah, I'm going to peacock a little bit to be like, y'all called me an idiot. Y'all called me dumb. Y'all said I was a fanboy. And looky here. Look at what happened. Like, obviously, yeah, it puts a little swagger in my step. I don't mean to come off like some arrogant know-it-all, but when you make a prediction and everyone wants to hurl insults at you, and then you gotta like, okay, fine, well, we'll see if it happens. Obviously, when it happens, there's gonna be some celebration. Fortnite's pretty fun now in the no build mode and a bunch of movement mantle changes. Oh, I love the no build mode. Distorted, did you see the rumor they're going to do a first person no build mode? Oh my gosh, I would love to play that. That's just going to be cartoon Call of Duty. Oh, yeah, and the movement's really fun and the world's really fun. I prefer that world to COD's world. The Series S has 10 gig of RAM, 8 of which is usable for gaming purposes. The PS5 and the Series X have 16 gig. Double, effing double, says Eugene. What's the first game to skip the S? Miguel, the reason I can't give you the first game that we'll skip is because it's likely not been announced yet, homie. Right? It's not been announced yet. You guys have to understand, I'm not hating on the S. I'm saying, look, man, there are games being built right now that are going to be bonkers, cool, big, awesome, high graphical fidelity. Okay? That's going to happen. And I'm telling you, one of those is going to skip the S. Witcher 4 and Cyberpunk. The only reason I don't think that's true, Spriggan, is because that's being built in Unreal 5. Listen. I tell you, there is something in the Series S's corner, and you want to know what it is? It's a lot of devs switching to UE5. I think UE5 will be adaptable to the S more than other engines. You have to remember that some companies are using their own proprietary engines, and optimizing down to the S will be very challenging for them. That's one of the reasons I'm making this prediction. But companies switching to UE5, I think they'll have an easier time. I do, because the Unreal Engine is very adaptable to weaker systems. They proved that with Fortnite. I wasn't trying to be combative. I just don't see anything now that says we can't scale that down. If something comes, they will go to streaming options. I got no dog in this fight. No, you're fine, Parkour. You're fine. Sometimes in the heat of battle, I can confuse friend for foe. The point is this. There are companies that won't want to do that, Parkour. Right? There are companies that won't want to do that. Imagine working on your game and doing all this amazing stuff and making it look awesome, run awesome, and Microsoft's like, you're going to have to make it run on cloud because it can't run on the S, or you come to that conclusion, and Microsoft's like, oh, you can run on the cloud. Homie, there are companies that are going to literally turn their nose up to that. We don't want our game running on the freaking cloud. Are you kidding me? If it's some intense moment-to-moment game with crazy combat and parry and timing and dodge and iframes, no way are people going to accept that. By the way, if you're just tuning in and we're covering the Wild Hearts new gameplay, we're just looping the trailer, and I'm having a debate with chat about the Series X. I reported this as spam. Okay, thanks. How is it spam? Just looking to hate the graphics. I see 10 times better than the original. Stop deriding Callisto. Okay. $70 next gen remake. Looks like a PS4 game, but okay. Sure, it looks better than a super old game, but it's a $70 next gen remake. Looks like a PS4 game. This guy says simpin', I see. Yup. I'm making people real mad with that Dead Space short. Oh, they mad. Oh, they heated. What is this? Every email I get from a corporation, I just delete. Do you guys do that? AT&T could literally be giving me $1 million, and I would never know it. They're like, we've updated our delete. Our TOS delete. We have a new guide on delete. Like, it's like, I don't even. Why are you even emailing me? The open rate on those emails has just got to be god awful. One caveat: if Xbox can release a RAM upgrade, how on earth? I think devs going after the mobile market also helps the S's, Paul. The problem is how low of a res is FPS is okay. Yeah, like if it becomes a stigmatized thing, Paul, then the market is going to turn. Because a bunch of people bought the Series S, and if they start getting like mobile quality games, the market might turn and say, what the F? Why is this what I'm getting? Dead Space looks bad. It is what it is. Jake, you know what's funny? I knew what people were going to do. They're all saying the same thing. This looks so much better than the original. That's not the issue. That's not the issue, homie. You know? That's not the issue. The issue is that it is a next-gen only. It's a next-gen only remake. Like, it's literally being sold on graphics. That's what it's being sold on. Like, I don't know how to say it any plainer than that. You can't excuse it by saying, oh, it looks better than this super ancient game. Back on Dead Space. I just commented on, I was getting some comments, Ray. Settle down. Unclench your cheeks, bro. I was just commenting on a short. They're going to download more RAM. Right? Yeah, external RAM. That's what I'm saying. You can't buy external RAM? What? I'm no tech expert, but I don't think you can just buy external RAM. The way Microsoft dodges the question is outstanding. With my previous Xbox games work... my previous Xbox games work on Xbox Series S. The Series S is compatible with thousands of games across 4 generations of Xbox. Will Xbox Series X support all future games? Just about every game available on the Xbox One will also run on the Series S, often with enhanced visual performance. That's not an answer. What the frick? Tilu 2, Ghost of Tsushima, Horizon Forbidden West, Forza Horizon 5, Red Dead Redemption 2, God of War Ragnarok, all running on ancient hardware. I don't know, it seems like you're talking out of your butt when it comes to the S. It seems like you have a hard time remembering which of those games are actually next-gen games and which are not. So, okay. As far as Ghost of Tsushima goes, that's a PlayStation 4 game. Red Dead Redemption 2 is a previous-gen game. God of War Ragnarok is built on an engine with assets that ran on the PS4. Again, engines are adaptable. I already made that point. You're ignoring that point. Horizon Forbidden West has a significant number of features that don't run on the PlayStation 4, and the frame rate's pretty bad, to be quite honest. It's like a 30 FPS. So they turn it all way down. Again, existing assets and engine that previously ran on the PS4. My prediction has nothing to do with games that just came out and are cross-generationally supported. You're literally not making a point that has anything to do with my argument. Yes, there are games right now that are cross-generationally supported that look amazing. That is true. That is superfluous in the discussion and has no bearing on my prediction. My prediction is that game companies love to increase graphical fidelity, lighting, textures. They love to do all those things, okay? And one of the things that commonly results from that is performance suffers, okay? Performance suffers. And a great example of this is even PlayStation is willing to turn their back on a market of 120 million consoles. Sony is already turning that tide and saying no more games for PS4 after this. Now, there'll be cross-generational third-party games that were already in development, but Sony is already doing it. They're like, we're leaving the PlayStation 4 behind, starting with Spider-Man 2. Again, that's with first-party titles. There will be third-party games that are either built on old tech or old engines, or they're not pushing 4K, they're not pushing ray tracing, and they'll run on PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. But third-party titles are obviously trying to maximize profit as well. They're not trying to move consoles the way that Sony is. So that will continue to happen, right? And my prediction is that in this generation's life cycle, you're going to get to a point in time where companies are trying out all the newest and the latest and greatest stuff, and it's not going to be something that you can get to run on the Series S. That's what I've been saying. Like, you're pointing to games that don't matter because they're cross-generational, or, again, Horizon Forbidden West and God of War Ragnarok were already in development for the PlayStation 4, so that's not a feather in your cap of your argument. Those are games, quite literally, that were built for old gen first, and then they started adding the new stuff after the fact. Oh, yeah, the live service games are going to be everywhere. Yes. Yeah, that's true. That is true. That's 100% true. Distorted says, I agree things are left completely unchanged as of now. There will be companies not releasing on the Series S, but they are actively trying to work out to improve those issues. So I have faith that devs won't have to make that choice, most of it. No, I believe they will make that choice, Distorted, for one simple reason. In the grand scheme of the gaming market, the Xbox is so small. Like, their market saturation's great and it's improving, but compared to, like, I want you to picture a developer that's launching their game on PlayStation 5 and PC, and they want to add in the Series X, okay? Now, a portion of that pie could be increased if they add in the S. A percentage of the pie could be increased, not the whole pie. They still have PC, which is huge. The PlayStation 5 market's going to continue to grow. The projections for next year are really good. So they would have to weigh it, right? They would do risk assessment. They would do cost assessment. They would say, okay, the amount of time and bandwidth we're going to have to dedicate to getting this thing to run on the S, we have to weigh that against projected sales on the S, and we also have to weigh that against what our product's going to look like if we do that, if we put it on a system and have to turn all these great features off, all these great new things that we've been trying to do. And I believe there will be companies that look at that and say, we don't want to be on the S. But they have to run on 9-year-old hardware. Somehow the Series S will not be able to run games 3 or 4 years from now. It's not that they won't be able to run them. Again, you're baking something into my argument that I'm not putting there. You're looking at my argument through the wrong end of the telescope, Miguel. So you're having a fundamental misunderstanding of my point. So you're arguing against a misunderstood argument. You're not arguing against what I'm saying. I'm not saying that the system is so weak it won't be able to run games in 3 or 4 years. I am saying that game companies, game developers are going to do everything they can to squeeze everything they possibly can out of the Series X and the PlayStation 5. And when they start doing that, the Series S will get left behind. Digital Foundry is on record saying they've heard from multiple developers that the Xbox Series S is a pain. We're still at the beginning of the generation. The Series S has already got constrained memory issues. Like, that's another industry analysis from Digital Foundry. Like, we're hearing from developers that the Series S is a pain, and we're at the beginning of the life cycle. What do you think is going to happen in 2 or 3 years when they start trying to do even newer things, better things, bigger things? Like, that's a point that I'm making. I'm not saying that, oh, the Series S is going to become an irrelevant console. I think you hear me saying that I'm not saying. The pushback against the Series S is proof that Microsoft is in trouble from a hardware standpoint. They've sold people on what they believe is a next-generation console, and it's severely limited. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. I think fundamentally, a lot of you are misunderstanding my argument, and that's why you're getting heated, and that's why you're, like, kind of coming at me really strong. It's like, look, man, like, think of it this way. I'm not saying that the Series S will be unable to run games in 3 or 4 years. I'm saying there are going to be developers that build games that are too crazy to scale down. That's my argument. They'll scale down like they already are on games like Deathloop. What's the argument? Yeah, that's my argument. They won't scale down because minimum specs consistently go up. Miguel, there are PC developers right now that prove the axiom. They prove my point. Imagine having a really weak PC and arguing what you're arguing. Oh, I'll always be able to play PC games. Why? Well, because PC games will always scale down. No, they don't. No. They start baking in new things. New texture mapping, new lighting, new processing requirements. You need more of this, you need more of that. You need more RAM, you need more processing power, you need a better video card. Like, the minimum specs always goes up. Always. How are we back on this argument? Because the game that we're watching right now, Wild Hearts, is a next-gen only game. And it's going to be on PS5 and the Series X. And their website omits the Series S, which I've continued to find that to be a little strange. Why game companies are omitting the Series S in some of their marketing. It's just a little odd. Like, if I owned a Series S and I went to the Wild Hearts website right now, it would look like I can't buy the game. It would look like the game's not going to run. I'm not going to be able to enjoy this game. Now, when we went to the official press release, it did state that it's launching on the Series X and the S. But if you go right now to the Wild Hearts website, it says PC, PS5, and the Xbox Series X. Now, some people might say, oh, people use that as a placeholder and it means both systems. Still, if I owned a Series S and I saw that, I'd be a little concerned. I'd be like, wait a minute, does that mean I can't get this? Because my prediction is there's a day coming where that's going to happen. And people don't like the prediction. They're not picking it apart with, like, evidence. They don't like it. Yeah, look at the min specs for Cyberpunk. Like a GeForce GTX 970. Oh my gosh, that's got to be barely running. Jiminy Christmas. I think people bought the 144060 marketing for the Series S, and they believe the machine is more capable than it is. Yeah, I don't have a dog in the fight. Like, I'm not like anti-Xbox. I'm not. I look at the market and I make predictions. That's what I do. I analyze what game companies have done, what game devs are saying. I analyze the announcements, and I just make predictions. You got 10 years to be right. Got a whole decade. No, I conceded this the other day, Omega. If we get to the very, very end of this life cycle, and there are games, like, let's imagine there's an Xbox, let's call it the Jaguar, and the PS6. So when we're about to go into the PS6 and the Xbox Jaguar, era, if there are games that launch for the Xbox Jaguar and the Series X, and they leave behind the S, that doesn't prove me right. I'm willing to concede that. If it's the tail end of the generation, and they do crossover titles that launch on the Xbox Jaguar and the Series X, and they leave behind the S, that doesn't prove me right. I think I'll be proven right within 3 years. Well, within 3 or 4 years, I think I get proven right. I think you're halfway on this one. I mean, my GTX 3080, I can run Frogger fine at 60. This game brings 3090 to its knees, but CD Projekt Red made it so it runs really good on the Series S. This proves you wrong. No, that doesn't prove me wrong. No. What you're saying, Sofa, is you're saying, well, this game made sure that it ran on really weak PCs. That proves you wrong. No, the PC market, minimum specs, continue to go up. If somebody were to come to you and say that, and they would say, within the PC market, PC games continue to push the envelope and minimum required PC specs continue to go up. And you're like, what? Nuh-uh, this game over here optimized itself to run on really weak PCs. Okay, that doesn't falsify the claim. That doesn't falsify the claim. Like, what are you talking about? Like, there are companies that decide. Think about what that means, Sofa King. That means that people look at the PC market and they turn their back on a lot of people who then can't buy their game. Why? Because they're like, we want our game to do all this awesome stuff. Well, there's a portion of the PC market that won't be able to buy your game. Yeah, well, that we're not willing to sacrifice the game's quality and all these new cool things that we wanted to do. You got any highlights from that article? So Cyberpunk 2077 patch, the Xbox Series S, the 60 FPS upgrade was tested. Quality mode on the Series S today works pretty much as it did before the patch. In its default mode, it runs the gamut from 1440 down to 1296 with a reasonably tight 30 FPS lock with consistent frame pacing. So if you want to run Cyberpunk at 1440 on the Series S, you're getting 30 FPS. The new performance mode inevitably degrades some settings. In terms of pixel metrics, we're looking at a range of 1080 peak going down to 800. Most obvious in the areas where the game can't stick to its 60 FPS target. Uh-huh. Did you hear what I just said? Cyberpunk is not even a next-gen game. It was built for old-gen systems. They added a next-gen update later. Listen, did you hear what I just said? And I'm sure now you're going to say that it's CD Projekt Red's fault. In one breath, you're saying, oh man, CD Projekt Red got Cyberpunk to run really great on the Series S. That proves you wrong. Oh, when we actually see the breakdown, Cyberpunk runs at a 1080 dynamic, dips down to 800 resolution, and it can't even hit 60 FPS while doing that. What the frick? That's not even a next-gen title, bro. Do you really think all these game companies right now building next-gen titles want to run 1080 dynamic and not hit 60? Do you think they want to run 30 FPS? Read the next screen. Beyond resolution, there are some other compromises made to get Cyberpunk 2077 operating at 60 FPS. There are strategically targeted drops in quality to shadows and textures. Interior lighting generally flags more pixelated, rough edges, depending on the angle and the light's distance to an object. The second big change for the Series S performance mode is it lowered NPC counts, with the density of crowds significantly dialed back. The same things happen on the PS5 and Series X, with this change lowering the burden on both CPU and GPU. This end result is so effective on Series S that it makes you wonder what extra challenges the team at CD Projekt Red had in reaching 60 FPS and why it took so long for this feature to arrive. Did you... Now, they said the same things happen on the PS5 and the Series X with this change. So they're saying they all... I don't understand that sentence, Eugene. Did they lower the density of the crowds on all of the systems? Because it sounds like the second big change for the Series S, performance mode, is it lowered the NPC counts. The same things happen on PS5 and Series X with this change lowering the burden of both CPU and GPU. That's the problem, says Paul. Devs should not have to waste time on this much time on stuff like this. They did that even on PC. Soon the PC market is going to go into decline due to GPU prices. I know that once the rigs can't handle games anymore, it'll be consoles where there's still value. Spriggan, all market analysis says that PC gaming is about to go into an absolute upward trajectory of growth. Both Capcom and Sony have adjusted their strategies accordingly. Your prediction about the PC market is woefully wrong. There's nothing in the market analysis right now that states that. It states all the opposite. PC market is about to absolutely boom. Like, GPU prices dropping is actually going to help the PC market. I don't understand how you're drawing that connection between GPU prices are down, so the PC market's going to go poor, going to be bad. Yeah, imagine not even hitting 60 FPS when your game dips to 1800. I'm sorry, 800p. 800p. I had a 14-year-old plasma television that was like a 720p television. You're basically hitting just above that thing. Yeah, GPU prices dropped because of all the crypto crap. Older games use older adapted tools. New games will never will use newer tools that's in the S. You will see UE5, what I'm saying. I said that earlier, Joker. I conceded that point. I said that a lot of the games on UE5, that's going to be something that saves the Series S from falling off the table. Because Unreal 5, Unreal 4 has proven this. The Unreal 5 engine will be likely very adaptable and agile to hit those lower performing spectrums. Like I think that's totally reasonable to be like, yeah, no, UE5 is gonna really help, basically. Like, they did that with, they did it with UE4, they did it with Fortnite, so I conceded that. I think people hear me say this and they think like I'm arguing that the Series S is going to get left behind. I'm like, no, I think there's going to be a handful of titles that skip it. That, let's say a couple. That's all I'm saying, I don't know, 3 to 5, maybe more. Honestly, I think the PC market is going to experience an increase at the top end of the spectrum and a decrease at the lower end of the spectrum with those players moving to console. Yo, what's good, M. Gene? I don't think the Series S is for cheap people. I don't think it's fair to be like creating pejoratives or like insults for people that have bought it. That's dumb and unnecessary. That's not what I'm saying, and I that's never been a part of my argument. People wanted an affordable inroad, and the Series S market saturation has actually been very impressive and good for Microsoft. I've continued to say it's a self-made Trojan horse that could potentially pose problems for them, seeing that devs are already complaining about it, and the generation of consoles just started. Like, think about it like this. We are not in the middle or the late stages of this generation. It would be one thing if we got to the middle of this generation. If we got to the middle of this generation and people started complaining about the Series S, right? It would make sense to be like, well, it's not that big of a deal. We're halfway through the generation. People just have to figure it out or dial back some of the features. We're literally the thing got announced, the dev kits got distributed, and devs started complaining. When's the Ghost of Tsushima remake? There's not going to be a Ghost of Tsushima remake because they did a director's cut. And it costs like, what, $10? You trying to get a dig in because of the Horizon Zero Dawn leak that'll probably likely be packaged in a similar fashion. And the main people complaining about it don't even own a PlayStation. My 10-year-old has a Series S and has never complained about anything once. It's perfect for him. That's great. That's not being discussed. Like, it's not being discussed. if there are 3 cars on the market and one of the cars has something about it that's weaker, and I say that eventually they're going to make adjustments to the track downtown and that car is going to struggle to perform and fall behind. And if your response is, well, I bought the car for my kid and he doesn't have any complaints, that has nothing to do with what I just said. My prediction has been that the track downtown will have adjustments and changes made to it, and that car will fall behind because it has a weak point. It has a bottleneck. Well, I don't have any issues now. Okay. That again, you see how silly that sounds? It's like there's these 3 cars that just came out on the market. This third one has a known bottleneck. It can cause issues with performance. And there's a racetrack downtown, and they're talking about advances and adjusting and turn radius this and elevation change that. And I'm like, yeah, eventually when that track really updates itself, this car is going to fall behind. And you're like, but I bought the car for my teenager and they don't have any complaints. What? That has nothing to do with my prediction. I just watched the Digital Foundry vid on the Series S Cyberpunk 60 FPS mode, 1440. It goes as low as 1240, and Digital Foundry blamed the engine more than the console. Yeah, but you're cherry picking a stat. 1440 goes down to 1240, and it doesn't maintain 60. They're not maintaining 60. The 1440 mode runs at a locked 30, homie. You're cherry picking half of that stat. 1440 goes as low as 1240, and it's getting 30 FPS. That's a 30 FPS mode, bro. You're cherry picking and misrepresenting what that video covers and showcases. Come on. And you're talking about a cross-gen game. Jiminy freaking Christmas. A cross-gen game. That's not even a next-gen game. Bro, like, you guys keep citing stats and games that, like, quite literally prove my point. You're proving my point. It's an older game. It's a cross-gen game, and it's struggling. It's unbelievable. Halo Infinite's performance on the Series S is almost mirrored by the Xbox One, the old console. That's a first-party title. First-party title, Halo Infinite, has performance parity with the Series S and the Xbox One, the old console. You call Cyberpunk a cross-gen when we all know it shouldn't have launched on last gen. Right, but Greenside, the point I'm making when I say that is it's not a next-gen title that did all these amazing pushing the envelope next-gen things. It's an older title. Switch, PS4, Series S will continue to be a nice home for indie games like Toem and Kena and Limbo. They don't require fastest hardware, but anybody expecting the highest-end first-party to stay there? No way. Yeah, Louise, don't bring that to the table. One of my mods deleted your comment. Xbox is for kids, PS5 is a man's console. Shut the frick up. Even if you're joking, don't do that in my chat, please. We still talking about this? Went and watched someone else's video on this game, came back and still this topic. Can we please move on? Love your streams, but this topic's so annoying. You know what I find annoying is when people try to change the topic because they don't like it. There's 400 people here. You're not in charge, and the stream is not crafted just for you. I don't enjoy beating the dead horse either, but there have been people bringing up other points, other games, other articles, other videos. It's a perfectly fine topic. If you don't like it, it's very easy to come back another time. Like, there are people, you know what I mean? There are people that don't like when I talk about certain games, and they don't come in and say, oh, you're talking about this again? You talking about Cyberpunk again? Just, you know what I'm saying? Like, don't watch then. Like, I'm not gonna. You know what? You know what happens? You know what happens, Turk, is if I ignore what people are saying and try and change the subject, they'll be like, "Oh, but I tried to bring up this point or this video or this article, and you just ignored me." So it's like I can't ignore people that are engaging the topic and trying to make new points or new argumentative like angles on it. Not a bad inclination though. Like we could go back to Wild Hearts. No, we've covered Wild Hearts. Like, I can only say so much about a 7-minute trailer, right? We let people come in, right? They jump in, they add their feedback, they might ask questions, or they might just want to see the gameplay. There's only so much we can say about a 7-minute piece of gameplay. And it's relevant to this game. This game is next gen only, right? This game is one of the newer games. This is we're entering into a new era next year, right? So next year, this game, Wild Hearts, is going to be one of the first games to be like, oh no, you can't play this unless you have a PS5, Series X, or Series S, or PC, right? So it's a part of the equation to talk about and say, are there going to be games that push the envelope and hurt performance? Are there going to be games like this that, oh, here's a big open fight, and we did all this lighting and water and texture effects, and it affects gameplay? Like, imagine misspelling Kena as Kenya. Imagine coming up with a reason that might have happened. Like, I don't know, autocorrect. You get the new games, albeit a lower performance, at the price that you are still sold to competitors' old-gen console. Sure. And if that's something that's satisfying to you, I'm not going to convince you to be unsatisfied with that, right? Like, I was having a conversation with a guy recently about Cyberpunk, and that's actually like our next stream. It's about the Cyberpunk sequel. And I told him, like, the game is apparently in a much better place, and people are really happy with it. And I said, all future updates will be next gen only. And he said, oh, I don't have a next gen console yet, right? And he said, I don't have a next gen console yet. So I said, I would not get into Cyberpunk until you can get a next gen console. And I even told him to skip the Series S. I said, don't do the Series S. It's not going to be a big uptick. As we just saw today in Digital Foundry's report, if you want to even run 1440, which is a pretty reasonable resolution this generation, it runs at 30 FPS. So, like, and if you want to run 60 FPS, it's dropping below 1080 to do that. So, like, I literally told him, I was like, yeah, that game's looking good, man. It's really turned a nice corner, but, don't buy it on old gen. Like, it's relevant to the conversation of, hey, this game's skipping old gen. Like, we're at a turning point in the industry, right? All next year, you're going to see trailers. This Wild Hearts trailer, this Wild Hearts gameplay, this is the beginning. This is the beginning of the new era. All next year, you're going to see console trailers and old gen's getting left behind. Still, it needs more time in parts. I don't think open world games with big giant monsters are ever going to have amazing graphical fidelity. I think they turn all that stuff down. There's just too much. Look at how far he travels here, Paul. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just don't think so. I don't think games like this are going to have amazing fidelity. Like, you can even see it there. Watch the shadow on the rope. See the shadow on the rope? See how it's like jittering and pixelated? And watch, and then it becomes whole. You see? Watch the shadow on the rope. It goes from being like pixelated and jittery. See it? It's almost like it's dots. Jitter, and then it becomes whole. Like, they're definitely doing what they can with render distance. There's even a jittery shadow right there on this rock. Right here. See that jittery shakiness? And then up in here. Jittery shakiness. They're doing some kind of render distance thing. And it's a big open world, so more than likely, you're going to have those jagged edges. You're going to have those performance issues. Yeah, there's some bad stuff in this trailer. No doubt. And that's because when you make a game this size, those are things that you're going to find and you're going to catch. this is not a game that's selling itself on next gen. Right? This is not a game selling itself on next gen. We must have just had a huge blip because we just literally skyrocketed 50 viewers. That's not natural. If you actually clicked on this video and came in here for the first time today, let us know in chat, hit subscribe, chime in, click the like button as well. We need 50 more likes. I think we probably just had a blip though. Xbox has tons of games. You have no idea what you're talking about. Stop being a fanboy. Yeah, I mean, you said I have a different opinion than all you sheep here, and now you're saying that. You're done. You were given plenty of chances to not converse those ways. I just don't have patience for people that need to be taught how to have conversations. I was sent here just now? Really? From where? Where did everybody come from? Yeah, that guy has multiple times was just being nasty and insulting people. You're on your way anyway? Yeah, no, we're quickly dropping. I don't think that was a genuine viewership bump. I think that was a blip. We'll see. I don't think we'll maintain. I think we'll drop back to 380 something viewers. I think that's our real viewership. Yeah, welcome to the promised land. Serious on this one? Is Hilly assuming... I'm with Hilly, assuming he's serious. This looks pretty bad to my eyes. Okay. No, we can have a conversation about that. We have about 20 minutes to kill, okay? I'm going to defend this game's graphics, all right? Within the genre of open-world Monster Hunter games, I think this game's graphics are completely fine and acceptable. This is what most of these games are going to end up looking like because there's too much going on. There's too many dynamic pieces. There's too many moving parts to go for the graphical fidelity of something like Ragnarok or even Forbidden West. They're very choosy in how they do certain things. And even Forbidden West had issues with pop-in and frame stutters when the game first came out. They had to do some optimization, right? So I think most people that look for games like this are not looking for bonkers, crazy next-gen graphics. The fact that this game has to run on next-gen only probably is in relation to the fact of, like, the processing power to do and display these fights. Yeah, we just dropped to 360 viewers. Yeah, YouTube is once again just being a stellar live streaming platform. Man, I hope they iron out the problems. It's so freaking irritating. Because nobody's going to give me the benefit of the doubt. They're going to be like, that guy's stream constantly buffered that day. Like, it's like, no, it's not me. It looks like a Monhun game. I think it's fine. Plus, this isn't the final product, so I'm going to make judgment on the way it looks just yet. Well, it is launching in February, so I highly doubt we're going to see major changes between now and then. Right? Last gen game, though? What game is that? And Monhun? Yeah, but I mean, if I pick that game apart and I look at that in motion, you have a screenshot. Let me watch that in motion. How many of those shadows jitter? How many of those rendered surfaces don't look like that in motion? Like, you know what I'm saying? If you've seen some of the freeze frames of this game, it looks bonkers good. Look at some of the screenshots. That's fine if that's the genre, I guess, but I'm not going to sit here and say an entirely fake ground and constant clipping and animation-free transitions looks good. They don't. I think this looks good. It's a very specific art style. Yeah, I don't see any issue. The only thing I don't see issues with the graphical style. I see issues with performance with respect to, like, jittering textures and jittering shadows and lighting. That's the stuff that needs fixed. Like, I don't care about the clipping or the fact that, like, some of the textures on this giant tusk warthog guy are, you know, kind of not so great. This looks last gen. I don't know if I agree with that. I think it's hard because I think when you go to big, huge games like this, the graphical fidelity is going to look last gen. I don't know if you're going to be able to have an online 3-player co-op experience that's not going to look somewhat degraded in the graphics. It's always been that way. It does look like a poor man Monster Hunter, though. I want people to understand something. I'm not defending the graphics and I'm not saying they look good. I'm acknowledging that it does look last gen, but I think that's going to be a common trope when you play a game like this. The scope and scale of the areas and the fact that you can play with other people, I think that is going to hinder performance and graphical fidelity. I'm not saying that it looks good. I'm saying I think this looks appropriate for what the game offers. What makes this game bigger than, say, Horizon Zero Dawn or Forbidden West? Well, I think there's always a difference when you offer in the multiplayer. There's been at least 2 developers over the years that have talked about that. You can squeeze a whole lot more fidelity and performance out of a game when you're playing completely by yourself. The minute you introduce other players, you can't do that. That's been commentated on before. So I would imagine that this game, being that it's big, open world, scope, scale, size of the monsters and stuff, like I'm fairly certain if you could play Horizon Forbidden West multiplayer that the graphics would suffer. That'd be my guess. The standard PS4 runs at 1080 versus 864 on Xbox One. Both shoot for around 30 FPS, but drops are very common for Monster Hunter World. On PlayStation 4, the frame rate hovers around 26 to 30, whereas on the Xbox One, you're looking at 24 to 26. In some cases, the PS4 can go slightly above 30. Yeah, I don't know if Monhun has hit incredible graphics and performance either. Again, I think you have these big open world areas with big scaled fights, and you have multiple people playing, and I think it affects fidelity and it affects performance. It always has. This style of combat's, if this was my jam, I'd be more forgiving, but a big part of what I find appealing about this combat is because it looks so Switch, easy pass for me. I don't think Red Dead Redemption 2 Online suffers, does it? Kratos, I'm fairly certain there are breakdowns of all of the things they turn off and way down when you play Red Dead Online, yes. I'm fairly confident there are reports about Red Dead Online. They turn down all kinds of stuff, yes, to get better performance. Another good example would be Uncharted 4 versus Uncharted PvP, Uncharted 4's PvP. They turned off all the lighting, all of the textures, so they could run at 60 FPS. It looked like a different game. Like the Uncharted 4 multiplayer literally looked like a different game. It looked like some little like Uncharted arcade game in comparison. So I'm fairly certain that anytime you add in the multiplayer element, you're going to sacrifice a lot. Didn't notice in Red Dead 2 Online. I can't rattle off the stats for you right now. Again, I'm confident that I saw a report about that. Yeah, 3 is the max, Mike. That's been officially confirmed. You can have up to 3 players play this game co-op, yes. Thinking of getting a PS5. I have a Series S now. How much of a difference will I notice? I think it's night and day. I don't think there's a game right now you can play on the Series S that would rival the best looking game on PS5. Like, I don't even think it's a competition. Oh yeah, Red Dead Redemption 2 is also 30 FPS. Yeah, that's also something to consider. I don't know if this game's running at 60. I don't know if it's trying to run at 60. I don't know if they've done a breakdown about that, if they've said anything about that yet. Yo, good morning, Smashville. I think people saying that games look bad is often because they only watch the footage here. Watching the trailers through a stream makes them look worse. I mean, I can say sitting here looking at it that I'm noticing there's literal graphical performance issues that I'm seeing. kind of expect that in a big open world game. I'm not saying that every open world game does that, but usually if you pick apart open world footage in most games, you're going to see jittery shadows, you're going to see clipping, you're going to see like stuttering sometimes in textures. Like that doesn't happen in every game, but that is a common thing in open world games. How many frames between when you stand between his two legs and smash the ground? 5 or 6? Oh, it's 30 FPS. Okay. Yeah, it's a 30 FPS video. I was going to say, I don't think this is running at 60. I don't know if they've said anything about it. Yeah, I don't know if they've said anything about it. Yo, it's good mic on the mic. It kind of looks like Elden Ring if Elden Ring had any speed or action in the combat. I keyed a kid just a little, though. Yeah, I would actually say this is probably got some graphical similarities to Elden Ring. It's not shooting for hyper photorealistic, but it's clearly an artistic interpretation of photorealistic environments with trees and water and sunsets and stuff. He's fighting a giant boar with an umbrella while helicoptering around. Shut up and take my money. You can tell the game is running at 60. This is 60 footage. I feel like the character animations are a pretty dead giveaway that this game's going to shoot for 60. The character animations and the rolls and the swings. Although his roll does look a little... It actually does look a little jerky. But again, that could be because the engine itself, with that big guy on the screen, is having issues. Like, that big jump there and swing there looked like 60 FPS footage to me. Playing Horizon Forbidden West or Returnal, you'll notice the graphical differences between a PS5 and a Series S. Yeah. And that's not bashing. I think that PlayStation 5 came out swinging pretty hard with some pretty good titles. Now, they might not be your cup of tea, like Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart and Returnal are definitely not for every single gamer. They don't like. I think Ratchet and Clank has broader appeal than Returnal for sure, but I think they came out swinging, pretty hard. How fast he slides, how quick the builds happen. Yeah. The tower building definitely looks like 60 FPS animations. That's also true. I agree with that. If you guys have been enjoying today's coverage, do me a favor and do all the free things. Click that like button. Let's shoot for 400 likes. And also do me a favor, consider clicking subscribe. That is also free. When you subscribe to the channel, it helps you not to miss out on the content. We are not done for the day, by the way. Gameplay breakdowns are fun, but again, we got a little off topic because there's only so much I can say about, a given piece of gameplay. I feel like we had a good discussion about the game, and then we spent about 30 to 40 minutes, entertaining the idea that, hey, this game's website doesn't have the S on it. What's that mean? This game is launching for the Series X, the Series S, and PS5, but it took us down that rabbit trail of my prediction. And none of my prediction about that is rooted in hate or fandom. It's just literal market analysis that has led me to a prediction. If that prediction doesn't come true, then great. That's good for everyone who owns an S, right? I'm not trying to be a foreboding doomsayer and try to talk crap about your choice piece of plastic. That's not my goal. It's not my goal. What even is it? Oh, this game here? This game is called Wild Hearts, and it is a new Monster Hunter style game. It's not a Monhun game. It's obviously inspired by Monhun games. And you have like contraptions you can build, traps you can build, weapons, and you use those to traverse the world and to fight the big giant beasts. You can have up to 3 players playing at a given time, all working together. It was just announced about 2 weeks ago, and it is launching on February the 17th next year. So it has a very short window from the time it's been announced and showcased. So the Wild Hearts gameplay that they've shown both 2 weeks ago and today, I think is pretty impressive, leading to a very fast Wild Hearts release date in February of next year. Lono isn't trying to yuck your yum. Yeah, that's never the intention of my predictions. I think people immediately take it into like a personal vendetta, like, angle or lane. It's like, man, that is just never my intention with a prediction like that. It just isn't, you know? We did spend a good amount of time today debating whether or not games like this need a health bar, why I want a health bar, but why I'm okay with them saying, no, we're not going to do a health bar. Like, I'm willing to say it's part of the genre. It's part of the appeal of feeling like a feeling like a hunter. So good. But I find it to be a turnoff. So I'm never going to argue that, like, oh, they should put a health bar in or they should do that for me or whatever the frick. I'm never going to argue that point. I just would like it. Like, let me turn it on in the menus or something, you know? I know a lot of people are constantly going to be like, no, I don't like that. I think it would be bad. It's 2022 and Modern Warfare 2 ain't even here yet. And we're already talking about a COD release for 2025. What? Do. Okay, sorry. I was checking on something. Making your vision reality 1 pixel at a time. Oh, they do graphics. I like no health bars. I want to get immersed. That's one of the things. Are there graphical differences when playing Returnal in co-op? No, but Returnal co-op does have some performance problems, yes. Sometimes there's hitches and sometimes there's like snags. I always chalk that up to maybe lag. Maybe the game just, wasn't originally built for that, so they kind of shoved it in and it, potentially is causing some issues. But it does. It does. I have never had a game crash on me on my PlayStation 5, and it crashed on me when I was playing one night co-op with my wife. So, yeah. Like, the whole game crashed, like, straight up froze. And I was just sitting there hanging out. It was really, really weird. It was really, really awkward. I was like, what the frick? I've, like, never had that happen. Let's see. Okay. Let's get this stuff sent out. Okay. A sequel to Advanced Warfare is being developed by Sledgehammer and is slated to arrive in 2025. We have a reaction video. Somebody saying that, like, Sledgehammer, they should have handed Halo to Sledgehammer. Can't do that now. Let's see. Okay. My chat disconnected. Is YouTube being silly again? Probably. They've been having troubles again today. They must be trying to push out another UI update. They were doing a bunch of stuff last week, and it was really annoying. And then it seemingly stopped, and we've been having, like, really consistent days, and seems to be happening again. So. All right. I'm going to keep letting this loop because I know people are looking for it. I'm going to quickly run upstairs and use the restroom and stretch. And when I come back, we are going to talk about the Cyberpunk sequel that was announced. Big things are going on at CD Projekt Red, and this is pretty significant. There was even a petition for more DLC. So I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Do me a favor if you're still here and haven't smashed the like button yet. We only need 26 more likes. That will help this video out even when we're not streaming. So thank you to everybody who has been doing that. I'll be right back. Sorry. My fam is helping out today, watching kiddos, and I kind of had to tag in just a little bit. One of the kids was just having a hard time. It's kind of a really rough situation. We've been helping as best we can, but July of last year, they lost their dad in a car accident. It's like super sad. So we help when we can and chip in when we can. Obviously, you know, kids can get super upset about stuff. What have I been looking at for gameplay? Yeah, this one's good. Let's do this. Do that. And let's do that just in case. Okay. Yeah, Quiet Shy, like 3 just beautiful kids. They're as sweet as can be. It's just tough. It's tough because, you know, they're at varying ages, hard to understand, and it's so, you know, it's easy that age to be upset by little things, probably even more so when you've, you know, had that level of disruption to your life. Okay, so the next stream is about the Cyberpunk sequel. Now, if you traditionally don't have good luck with our redirects, then use the link in chat. I have put a YouTube link in chat, okay? That's our second stream of the day. Now, redirect on YouTube is supposed to take you with me. If redirect traditionally doesn't work for you, now is the time to click on that link and go there. This stream is coming to an end, okay? On your way out of this stream, smash that like button, get us to 400 likes. We only need 20 more. And then let's go have a new conversation and new discussion about the Cyberpunk sequel, okay? Thanks so much for clicking on this. This is going to be about the Cyberpunk 2077 sequel, or the Cyberpunk sequel, Project Orion. You may have seen Cyberpunk Orion talked about recently, and this is kind of shocking given that the final DLC is not even out yet, Cyberpunk Phantom Liberty. There's even a petition for Cyberpunk 2077 DLC. They want the second DLC. We're going to be breaking down all of the info, even a CEO that steps down. I put all the information right at the beginning of the stream because it is a longer video. It's because it was a live stream. So make sure you hit subscribe and the bell button. That way you don't miss these streams. I'm going to end the previous stream that was about Wild Hearts. We broke down the gameplay. It was a really fun stream. So if you want to check out that stream, go check